South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
It's Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. Here's Jeff Parles and Alex White.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book at the South Point Studio. I'm Jeff Parles. She is Alex White. Happy to be with you as always. April 21st. Only less than 10 days to go in April, Alex.
That's
almost
right.
in May. Almost the third of the way through 2025.
Hopefully you had a good weekend. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend and won some bets there. The chalk continues for 2025, just like we saw with the NCAA tournament and now into the playoffs for both NBA and NHL.
Well, you could even argue the NFL as well.
That's right.
You ended up with, again, Philadelphia. Ohio State was the second betting favorite once the college football playoff began. The NCAA tournament, as we all know, even though, again, the quote-unquote weakest number one seed, according to the committee, won the national championship. But from the betting perspective, they were number two, basically, for the last 3 weeks of the year. And now hockey and the NBA are off to a chalky start in their postseasons as well. Also, the Dodgers won the World Series in 2024. So
that's right.
Maybe it just started with that as the betting favorite one in baseball for the first time in what it seemed like a long while going into a season. All right, let's get into it here today. And we begin with some hockey. Let's start here. Alex, we mentioned it before. It's been chalk city so far in the NHL. The favorites in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far, 5-0. They have all covered the puck line as well. A lot of late game shenanigans here just down the road from us in Golden Knights and Wild gets both the over and the Vegas puck line home in the last 10th of a second of the game last night at T-Mobile. But we have a collection of game one and the Eastern, 2 game ones involving Canadian road teams, and then we have a pair of game twos or games two, if we have grammar people out there, whatever way you want to go with it, going tonight here, Alex. And let's begin though with the weekend. Is there anything that stood out to you in those weekend games heading into the first full calendar week of this tournament?
Well, we talk about it a lot, right? With the health issue, and really it's just a battle of nutrition for these long season sports here. So NBA, NHL, and baseball, really. And you're seeing that in hockey. I mean, the Devils are just so banged up, and then injuries just pile on in that game against the Canes. And then I was surprised with the Stars, but at the same time, I mean, they do have the injuries as well. So they really struggled and had a hard time against the Avs. So I think that was the main thing that really stood out to me. Toronto, I think that score looked a little better than that game actually was. I think Ottawa really put up a fight. So I think that series might stay a little closer, but the other ones I'm a little concerned with.
The series that we've seen so far, you mentioned just the battle of attrition across, just again, it happens in every sport. Dallas looks totally donezo because of the injuries. New Jersey, we figured was done going, well, not done, but it was going to be it would have been a monster upset if New Jersey beat Carolina. And on top of, like you said, more injuries, I would be surprised if New Jersey wins more than one, even with the kookiness of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I was impressed with St. Louis. I know that they ended up losing the game, but they had the better play for solid 25 minutes of that game. The better team just ended up winning, obviously, the late goal, and you get the empty netter to cover the puck line late for Winnipeg. That's the one, like, if we're looking at, like, Vegas, I didn't think played particularly well and still won last night. Toronto dominated an Ottawa team where the moment just seemed too large for the young Senators. It'll be interesting to see how these teams tonight that are making their playoff debuts, which we'll get to in a second, and also, too, these game twos happening in the Western Conference Central pod as well. All right, let's go to the nation's capital for the Capitals. Washington, Montreal, game one, Metropod, number one seed in the Eastern Conference and the second best point total in the National Hockey League in the regular season with the Capitals here tonight. Alex, right now, here at the South Point, here for game number one of this series, minus 185 on the homestanding Caps, plus 165, plus 165 on the Canadiens. A total of 6 for game one. And series prices, we talked about minus 260 on Washington, plus 220 on the Canadiens.
Best bet for me in this game is definitely the over. I made this game 6.5, and I know it is the playoffs, but just the way these two play, I expect there to be goals. And the Capitals come into this second in the league in goals for, averaging 3.49, and they're tied for 8th in goals against. So not a crazy number there. They're even on the year in over-unders, just 38 and 38. Montreal comes in with a little bit, 40 and 36 to the over. And looking at their numbers, tied for 22nd in goals against, 3.18. I think the Caps are definitely going to have some success. Looking at the regular season games, so the Capitals did win 2-1, but the Canadiens took the last game in Washington. They won that one 3-2, so that was a lower scoring game. It's kind of correlated. If you like the Caps, I think you're leaning more towards the over. If the Canadiens are going to have a chance in this, they're going to have to really slow down this offense. But looking at the first two games in the regular season, Washington 6-3 and 4-2. So I'm looking for a higher scoring game like that. I also do like the Capitals. I mean, I have a minus 218 at home here in this first game. I'm not going to bet it so much chalk. And we know how hockey can go. So over for me, over 6 goals. And also, if you're looking for, I mean, I really only have one prop in hockey throughout all the games, but I like Jacob Chikrin, defenseman here. He is on the first unit for the power play. Looking for him for a point, plus 155. So I thought there was some value there. I mean, Strome, Ovechkin, you're not going to get a lot of value looking for points for them, but dive a little bit deeper. First unit of the power play, going with a defenseman there.
I'll just bring this up real quick. And for the Canadiens, I'm just more curious of how Montembeault looks tonight. That's really going to dictate how this series goes for me. If Montembeault plays well, then this is a series. If the moment is too large, again, I picked the Canadiens to make the Eastern Conference Final. Kind of did that strategically because I wanted Montreal, Toronto in the East Final. But I do like them in this series with a competent Montembeault. But that is the big what if here. Also, too, for Logan Thompson, this is a little bit of a big one as well, where, again, remember, part of it, as we know, Aiden Hill was the one who led the cup run 2 years ago. This is a whole different ballgame for Thompson, the undisputed number one goaltender on the number one team in the Eastern Conference. So very curious to see how this all plays out tonight. And that might lead to what you're saying, where this might be a heavy-duty over game tonight with two goalies that, again, for playoffs, for both of these guys, getting their feet stable on the ground. Yes, I know Thompson played high-leverage games a year ago for VGK, but it's a little bit different now where there's no one lurking over your shoulder here in Washington.
I don't hate that at all. I mean, we saw a 2-2 first period between Binnington and Hellebuck. So, I mean, if you're looking at these two goalies, I definitely don't hate that at all. And just a little bit of sloppy hockey in the first period. Everybody kind of letting the nerves settle. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that. We'll see how these two do tonight. I'm very curious to see how Sam Montembeault does as well.
Moving along to game one in Los Angeles tonight, the Kings and the Oilers. Good game out of the chute, good series, intriguing series as we've talked about. Edmonton, a dog in game one. The Kings, a minus 125 home favorite, total 5.5 as we've talked about. This has been, with the later series start, I'm not surprised that people would bet LA on the series price. Minus 20 on the Oilers to minus 15 now. Even the minus 105 on the Kings. I still like LA here in this series. Again, I still have big issues with the goaltending on Edmonton's side. Plus, they're still not 100% healthy. Total 5.5 here in a game one at crypto.com tonight.
Definitely not healthy. That does concern me. But I still like Edmonton in the series, but I do like the Kings in this first game. Just how dominant they have been at home. I believe just 4 losses. Let me pull that up again. So I have the exact number here, but the Kings, so impressive. 6-4. So 6
regulation losses. That's pretty
right.
Damn good, Alex.
Yes, it really is. So I do like them here, but I really like the under in this one between these two. I made this game closer to 5, and we've seen it from the Oilers. They're 14th in goals against, 2.87 on the year. So they've been better defensively than we've seen in the past. 11th in goals for. Looking at the Kings, second in goals against, 2.48. So they have just been dominant all year. Looking at their regular season, the Kings really dominated 3-1, but I dove in deeper, and Skinner only played in 2 of the 4 games. So the last 2 games, the Kings shut out the Oilers 3-0 and 5-0 in Edmonton, and Pickard was playing in both of those. So the 2 competitive games where we had overtime, and the Oilers lost 4-3. Skinner was playing. And then the 1 win the Oilers got this year, Skinner was playing in Edmonton 1-0 over the Kings. Give me a 1-0 tonight for the Kings, but I really like the under 5.5.
Kings with as you mentioned, the most points at home this year. They had the most wins in regulation at home, or wins period at home this year. They're actually, if you look at the whole Western Conference playoffs, they are the only team that has less, that is under 500 on the road when you talk about point accumulation. Yeah, St. Louis technically was 20-16-5, which, that's more losses than wins. But when you add in the points, it accumulated to more than half of the points that you could get on the road. So there is you don't see, at least in this Western Conference, there's not a gigantic home road split, except for the Los Angeles Kings, which makes it utmost importance to take out Edmonton here in game one. The only thing I would look at here tonight is LA themselves. Want nothing to do with the total. I'm just concerned about the goaltending on Edmonton's side. We've seen Skinner, even though, they made the game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals last year, we've seen Skinner blow up in the playoffs in the past. And I especially when he's not 100% and not been himself and have been in and out of the lineup with a lot of Pickard the last few weeks, I'm a little bit concerned about how that will look for Edmonton. So I like LA here in game 1, and we're both on the Kings here in this Kings, one in LA. All right, we go to Winnipeg next, game 2. Final score not indicative of what went on in this game. This was a dead even game for pretty much the most of the way, and Winnipeg gets one late in regulation to go up 4-3 to get the even later empty netter to cover the puck line. Kind of a bad luck loser if you had St. Louis plus the goal and a half in game 1. Game 2 now, minus 90 on Winnipeg, plus 70 on the Blues. 5.5 juice to the under here, Alex. Do we get a normalization with this total after a game 1 that featured 8 goals and 4 goals in the first 16 minutes of the game?
Well, talk about a bad loser, Jeff. After that 2-2 first period, I jumped in under 7.5. I'm still a little upset about that. You just needed the game to get the game to overtime. That's right. At 3-3. So I do think we will see a better showing from these two goalies. I made it 5.5. I have no play on the under, but that is the way I would lean. I have no play on the game at all. I do worry about the Blues. I mean, 2 of their 3 goals were power play goals, and if they don't get those opportunities, I think that the Jets come in this one, they're fortunate to get that first one, and they might come into this one really hot. So I lean to the Jets side at home. I think they know they've got to take this one as well. But I made it 202. 190 is a huge price here for a playoff game. I'm going to stay away from this one, but lean to the Winnipeg Jets.
Staying off of this game completely. Would not shock me if this is more of an offensive series than we realize. Again, Winnipeg is just so well-rounded.
Yes, they are.
That's really the big thing. In the Blues, Bennington getting hot really helped them, but offensively speaking, they're a totally different team once they came back from the Four Nations tournament. So for me, stay off. I understand the goalie angle, that the 5.5, like we have 2 top-notch goalies, but again, playoff Hellebuck is not the same dude either. So staying off completely, everything feels right in line for what it needs to be for this one, Alex.
To your point, the Jets, they're tied for 3rd in goals for, and they were top 3 all year long. So you're right. They are a very good offensive team too. They ended the regular season 1st in goals against, 2.32. So well-rounded is a perfect word for this team.
Yeah, Jets, of course, were the President's Trophies winners, the best goal differential in the NHL this year, plus 86. As Alex said, those top 3 teams in the Central are all tied for 3rd at 277 total goals. Only Tampa and Washington scored more in the regular season this year. Tampa doesn't even start their series until tomorrow. They had the best goal differential in the Eastern Conference. So why a lot of people are picking Tampa to make the Stanley Cup final and maybe even win it for the 3rd time since 2020. All right, final game of the night in the NHL. Boy, Dallas just does not look like themselves. And obviously with all the injuries, and Robertson really was just the dagger more so than anything. But they do come in shorter of an underdog here in game 2. A little bit of a desperation factor here tonight at home. $1.45, Avalanche favorite on the road in Big D. Stars plus 125, total 6, heavy juice over on this one, Alex.
My numbers say Stars, and you're right, the desperation factor and them trying to at least get one at home before they go to Colorado, but the Avs look so good. 5-1 in that first game, and the only goal that Dallas had was a power play goal. That really concerns me. So Colorado's pretty much dominating when it comes to the 5-on-5 here against Dallas, and I really want nothing to do with it. Total-wise, I lean a little bit to the over. I've got it 6 over minus 125. That's exactly what we have here. So I have no value there either if you're actually looking at the juice and what you're playing. So nothing for me in this one either. Maybe I can jump in with some in-game on this one. But, it's tough. If you like the Avs side and they score first, I would be concerned jumping in with Dallas to even try and make a comeback in this.
It's just one of those where we talk about gas in the tank, and we talked about it with Florida, and we've talked about it. Again, Dallas deep in the playoffs a year ago, but a year where just they look like they could win the cup early in the year.
Yes.
Now it's just, again, unless Ottinger stands on his head, which he is more than capable of doing, it's still just, again, this is the wrong matchup for them more so than anything. An ultra-talented Colorado team that has been ultra-talented now for the better portions of 6 years, and, of course, with a cup to show for it in this run as well.
And I like the goalie changes that they made this year, and I've talked about it throughout the year, but I really do. Bringing in Mackenzie Blackwood and then Wedgwood from Dallas, actually. So I think that they just kind of leveled up here, and we already know how good that roster is, and they needed that goalie piece. So the Avs, they're scary. They could definitely make a really far run in the West.
Moving along, Alex, to the NBA, but before we do that, in the bottom, the trivia question is about to go live, so be on the lookout. Trivia Monday here today, and baseball today, Vince? It's a baseball question, so let's see if anyone can knock off JR here today on a Monday. All right, we move along to the NBA. Chalk pretty much prevailed as well in the NBA, but so 8 games obviously over the weekend, 7-1 favorites outright. Only outright loss was the Lakers getting pretty well handled at home by Minnesota on Saturday night. Favorites 5-3 against the number as well. And Alex, the under did well,
Yeah.
6-2 to begin the first 8 games of the NBA playoffs. And that included the overtime game, which somehow got there, which, by the way, if you would even though you should never have lost the Clippers on Saturday, you should never have blown that game outright. But if you would under and Clippers plus 2.5, and you managed to win on a 3-pointer with less than a second left in overtime, and then the Clippers couldn't get to Jokic in time to foul him, that's a luck box winner in the end, even though you should not have really been in any circumstance to lose either of those, even though you managed to find a way.
Correct. So even though I did sprinkle had a little Nuggets minus 2.5, it felt like a bad beat, but really, I mean, they were pretty fortunate to win that game, but did get the under in my Minnesota and Lakers. So 1-1 for my NBA this weekend. I'm still a little shocked with the 51-point win though by the Thunder, and I'm curious. We'll talk more tomorrow for that game, but wow, I mean, really the top seeds right now in the NBA, and you said it from the beginning. I mean, we're expecting chalk all the way to the end here for the finals, but that was pretty impressive.
Going to the 2 tonight, the Knicks, who needed a 21-0 run in the fourth quarter to win, and then they ended up covering that game as well against Detroit. That was a pretty bad one if you were on the Pistons for game 1. Game 2 tonight at Madison Square Garden. It's 7. It's 2:21. Again, all the favorites except for the Lakers up all of the favorites going into the series. If you're looking at seeds and like, the Warriors won game 1. Yeah, Golden State was a $2 favorite to win the series, and last night kind of showed that as well. 2:21 here in this one with the Knicks at home, Alex.
I like the favorite in this. I think that the Knicks get it done here, and I don't think that number is too big for them to cover. The thing with Detroit, and although they did look good and they did lead most of that game, they shot 47% from 3. I just can't. I don't think that happens again tonight. I think, the Knicks really showed something by going on that 21-0 run and winning the game and covering. So I think that we'll see a much better New York team from start to finish tonight. So I like the favorite in this one. I don't know if I'm going to put it on the board, but it will be a small play for me tonight.
Staying away completely. I just wonder with Detroit, they got so much out of Tobias Harris in game 1. That's not replicable in all likelihood. And I thought everything that could go right for Detroit went right for 3 quarters, and then they still managed to lose the game and not cover the game. That is a very alarming sign. Again, a series that I don't expect them to win. I do expect them to be able to push this out a little bit, but kind of feels like if this was going to be a long series, that Detroit, way that game 1 went, they needed that game, and they just didn't get it in the end. So be a stay off. Wouldn't shock me if the Knicks win this game by 15 and it's 2-0 going back to Motown. Game 2 in Denver. Clippers, as we talked about earlier, again, just a brutal loss, more so than anything. Really outplayed the Nuggets for almost all the game. They find a way to lose the game at the end. At overtime, they lose by 2. Now, Alex, they're actually a betting favorite here in game 2 on the road, a 1-point road favorite, a total of 218. Series price adjustment real quick. Actually, I want to bring this up because I didn't bring up the Knicks Pistons one. Sorry about that, guys. Knicks are now $6. That's about right. Plus $4.50 on Detroit on the take back for a series price. The Nuggets are $1.30 now to win the series. The Clippers are plus 110. What's interesting about that is this is where the series price opened before everyone bet it to the Clippers side. I was really hoping for a better price on the Clippers series price. I can't do it. I actually kind of inclined to bet Denver here and have them go up 2-0 in this series and then figure out what the heck to do once the series goes back to Englewood and Intuit Dome for game 3.
Kind of similar, right? Clippers a lot went right there. 36% from 3, Denver just 33, but the main issue for them was the turnover, and they had 22-11. So if they can fix that, I would think the Clippers is the right side. I understand why bettors are taking it, kind of a favorite flip here, even though it is just 1 point, but I'm going to target the total. I think 218.5 is too high here. We saw a low-scoring game. That was really a half-court game between these two. So I like the under, definitely, under 218.5. Just have to avoid that overtime again here between these two. But it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what happens here. But you're right. Denver really needs this one to go up 2-0 before going back to LA. So should be a dogfight here, but under for me.
Staying away, staying away in the end, even though I would only lean to the Nuggets in this game. Like I said before.
Curious on your thought, because I was thinking this too, watching and seeing sidewise. And then if the Nuggets do go up, it's a bet for the Clippers in Game 3 going back home.
Well, remember, we have to bring this up because it always happens in the NBA playoffs. When a team is down 2-0 going into that Game 3 at home, the numbers get totally out of control, as you know.
Yeah.
So you get a scenario where the Clippers, if the Clippers are a 1-point road favorite here, maybe 7 in Game 3? I think it'd be some outrageous number. And they're also going to be 6 in the first half.
Yes.
Just remember, that always manages to happen where the Pistons and the Knicks, the Pistons could be a favorite in the first half of Game 3, but be pick 'em or a dog in Game 3.
Yeah.
We get some wonky stuff throughout the early goings in the NBA playoffs, as we know. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, I see him, Dwayne Colucci, is going to join us when we get back. We'll get Dwayne's thoughts on all the hockey in the NBA tonight. Also, we'll get into some baseball as well here on a Monday, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
We're back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. And now joining us live from the Rampart, our good friend, the one and only Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart in Summerlin, our good friend Dwayne Colucci. Dwayne, good morning.
Good morning, and happy belated Easter to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Hope you guys had a great Easter, Dwayne. And I just want to begin with the weekend that was in the NHL before we get set for your Montreal Canadiens taking the ice for the first time in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But I asked Alex this question earlier, and I'm curious your thoughts. What was your takeaway from the first weekend of the Stanley Cup playoffs? Favorites 5-0 outright, favorites 5-0 against the puck line on top of being 5-0 outright in the opening weekend.
Yeah, definitely. It played pretty formful, if you want to call it that. But, the Dallas Stars, that's what the focal point is. This team is just, I don't understand what happened. I'll be honest with you guys. It's just a total fall apart. And, it's unbelievable how this team has no cohesion, and Colorado just looks like they're going to dominate that whole series, I'll be honest with you. But some great hockey. Toronto really looked good. I was surprised that they were that dominating, but they looked really, really good. The Golden Knights, no surprise there. I mean, they played fabulous hockey, and it's just, a testament to what we produce out here, that this is a hockey town. And I say that all the time, guys. Las Vegas is a hockey town, and, it's just now is the time of the season. Great turnout at T-Mobile last night, despite having the WWE holding events and Easter Sunday. But really a great story, and the house was packed here at the Rampart, and we're ready for a long drive to the maybe to the Stanley Cup and through the playoffs. But there's still some great teams out there. I mean, Colorado's ultra impressive. Don't kid yourself. And now if they get good goaltending play, it's just going to add to their resume. And, we're going to see what the Capitals have tonight as well, and the Canadiens. Canadiens, they limped in there, but they got that victory against the Hurricanes, despite the Hurricanes not playing a lot of players. So keep that in mind. I think Martin St. Louis definitely has to get Demidov more involved. You can't have this kid play only 10 minutes. St. Louis' coaching tactics at times are scrutinized by myself. I just don't believe he knows how to instill confidence into these younger players. It almost backfired with Cole Caulfield a few years ago. But, they're definitely going to come to play. Montreal's excited to be back in the playoffs. I think the last time they were in the playoffs is when they actually won the Western Conference, which is unheard of in the COVID bubble situation, and they were able to beat the Vegas Golden Knights to go to the Stanley Cup Finals against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we're going to see a lot of those superstars are still here. Suzuki playing at an amazing level. They need good goaltending from Sam Montembeault. It helps that Logan Thompson is not playing the first two games. That's huge in my opinion, because I think Logan is definitely the better of the two goaltenders, and Montreal does know Charlie Lindgren's style because he was a Montreal Canadian in the past. So, you're seeing a lot of Montreal money early on in this game one, and I think it's because more of the fact that Logan Thompson is not going to be there. Washington, they rested a lot of players in that final week of the season and didn't look all that great. But they're still a monstrous team. Alex Ovechkin's going to be hungry to get another cup on that resume. He's one of the greatest players ever, one of the greatest goal scorers ever that I have seen. And it's going to be tough. They always get up for the Canadiens, and they should, be able to survive this round. But Montreal's going to bring everything they have. And if Demidov starts to play, this is a young core with Hudson, Demidov, Cole Caulfield, Slavkovsky. They got a monstrous young roster. This team could only get better, barring injury.
Let's go to the next game on the board. That was a really good breakdown for that one. And I was going to ask you about it, but you hit all the key parts there. I'm curious for your thoughts on Oilers and Kings. I know you're not that fond of this Edmonton team. They are a little overrated. Best home team in the league with the Kings here, minus 125, and a very low total, 5.5 under, minus 115. You think the Kings get this first win in this rematch that we continue to see between the Kings and the Oilers?
This is bad blood, Alex. I'll tell you the truth. And, the Kings, definitely, they're a great home team. And we're starting to see now a lot of King money in this game. We're up to 125 on the Kings. I never get sold on this superstar roster that they call the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, definitely they have the best player on the planet, but they have to get solid goaltending. That's the whole key. The defense has to play well. The goaltending has to be premium for them to advance back to the Stanley Cup Finals. They're definitely capable. We saw that last year. They started to ride a wave of momentum, but they were nowhere in the class of the Florida Panthers, in my opinion. But there's a lot of hockey to be played here. This is the first game, Alex. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a bloodbath. Philip Deneau was so outspoken about this Edmonton roughhousing team, and they definitely play a physical game, but the Kings know how to shut you down at home, and getting great goaltending as of late. I keep touching upon the game they played here at T-Mobile the last time they visited Las Vegas, and they just destroyed us. So, this LA King team is very hungry. They want to beat Edmonton more than any team. This could be one of those first rounds, though, Alex, where the two teams are so physical that they destroy themselves, and then they limp into the next series and have a lot of trouble. So they have to be careful here in LA not to over overexert themselves, but they have to play the physical game that they're known for. This is why you're seeing a 5.5 with McDavid and Draisaitl on the other side of the ice. That's unheard of. I like the Kings' chances here tonight. They better make a statement. Similar to what I said, that the Knicks had to make a statement coming right out of the box, in the NBA. There's a few teams out there that, you have to make a statement right away to establish yourself, because if you fall behind like the Dallas Stars did and the Los Angeles Lakers, you find yourself up against it and people questioning your skill level and your skill set. So the Kings are one of those teams. Edmonton's proven we're going to get Edmonton money to win the Stanley Cup in these future games as well. So LA has to make a statement tonight. Look at the puck line even, Alex. Plus 210. That is ripe for a 3-1 victory tonight in LA.
Wow. Yeah.
Under puck line. There we go. That would be a combination that would be I'm sure would be fun for you, Dwayne. But that would be
I would love it.
One
but
for
the
that.
book wouldn't. I mean, no. Chris wouldn't love it. I mean, 2-1 ticket count right now on the Kings. High on money on the Kings. But that Edmonton money's going to trickle in. That's the later start tonight at 7:00. So we're going to get a ton of Edmonton money. I just know it comes in. These people, they're so enamored with Connor McDavid and Draisaitl and the flashy play that, it overshadows what great hockey and team hockey is about.
Dwayne, going to the game twos tonight, you already mentioned Dallas, so I want to ask you about Winnipeg and St. Louis then. I thought that the Blues had the better to play for 20, 25 minutes of game one, and Winnipeg just, in the end, the better team. They find a way to get the late empty netter to cover the puck line as well. $1.90 on the Jets, plus 170 on St. Louis. You give the dog any shot here? Or is this just going to be a competitive, shorter series for the Winnipeg Jets?
I thought it was going to be sort of a goaltender series, but Binnington didn't look all that great as the game started to go on. And, Winnipeg has enough to get past this team if St. Louis is going to try and outscore and play that type of hockey. St. Louis has to get great play from Jordan Binnington to be involved in this series. And you could see, it was 2-2 in the first period. They had then the lead 3-2. They were playing and showing very good signs, like you said, for 25 minutes. But then the third period, you get outscored 3-0, and that's crunch time. So, Winnipeg, President's Cup trophy winner, that doesn't mean much at the NHL level. Alex will tell you that. Last team that won the cup and won the President's Cup, I think, was like the Blackhawks like 20 years ago. So, this is going to be a tough series without a doubt. You see these 5.5s, but don't keep playing the under. I'll be honest with you. Here you see minus 140, and these are two teams that put up 8 goals. So it wasn't even close to going under last time. I think St. Louis will play a lot tighter tonight. That's why we're shading that under at minus 140, because we're going to get plied with that under money. You have two of the greatest goaltenders on the planet playing against each other, and you wait for Connor Hellebuck to just shut this team down completely. So, this is going to be tough. Scheifele was playing great. Kiru was playing great on the other side. So, it's going to be a tough series. I would say Winnipeg tonight again. St. Louis will start to win games when they get home.
Dwayne, let's go to the hardwood here, starting with the Pistons and the Knicks. You brought it up. The Knicks had to get that first win and went on a nice 21-0 run to do that. Now, what do you think about tonight? New York, 7-point favorite. Detroit, Jeff and I talked about it. I mean, they shot 47% from 3. We're going to see some regression here tonight, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think the Knicks blowed them out tonight. I mean, that was an unbelievable sharpshooting fest, and the Knicks really had a flex, and they did. Like you said, Alex, who the hell goes on a 21-0 run? That was just amazing. Other than OKC, who went like on a 50-0 run, you would have thought it was yesterday. I mean, that was just hammering. But the Knicks look good. I mean, they play in their game. Brunson's going to do his thing. OG is a great player. Towns, great player. So, this is a deep roster on the front 5, but after that, that's where it's not so deep with the bench play. So you're relying on these superstars. That's why it gets to where they get tired as the playoffs start to go on and matriculate, as Hank Schramm would say. So, the Knicks are going to be up against it as the series go later and later, but they have to beat a team like Detroit in a short series. You can't let this get extended. I think the Knicks are capable of that. Garden's going to be off the hook. Nothing is like Madison Square Garden when the Knicks are winning. Even if the Rangers are winning, winning, all these, when the Knicks are winning, if they get that crowd behind them, that is the loudest fan base in the world. And definitely that is going to be off the hook tonight. Rocking scenario. I say they blow Detroit out tonight. Detroit's a solid team, but they're nowhere near going to shoot that 50% from 3-point range. And the Knicks are going to open up a lead early, I think, and put it away.
Yeah, it just kind of goes back to everything you just said and kind of piggybacks off what I said earlier. It feels like so many things went right for Detroit in game one, and they still lost it, didn't cover
and you
the
still
game.
Lose.
Yeah,
Exactly.
If you get 30 out of Tobias Harris, you shoot 50% from three, you're supposed to win that game. And
Right.
they didn't even win the game. They didn't even cover. Just a bad sign moving forward for the Pistons, I would say, and in the hopes of potentially making this a long series and a little bit harder on the Knicks. Game 2 in Denver tonight. Again, game 1. Clippers were the better team basically the whole game and managed to lose the game in overtime. Now LA's a road favorite here in game 2. Laying 1, Nuggets home dog, plus 218. Dwayne, what are your thoughts on this game?
Seeing a lot of Clipper money. I'm looking at the board right now and definitely seeing a lot of Clipper money. Clippers outplayed them. They're definitely, I think, right now, they're probably the better team, but once again, you fall victim to some bad calls down the stretch. Game gets into overtime and all that. So, I think this is going to be a tough scenario for the Clippers because they're on the road. The altitude starts to get to you. You don't want these games to get drawn out. If you have a lead by 10, you got to put this game away in regulation. As these games get longer and longer, the altitude comes into play. The Joker comes into play. He's a monstrous, if not the best player in the NBA. And you look at it, what did he have? 29, 9, and 12. So you got to try and shut this guy down. I think the Clippers are definitely capable, but they have to put the games away. Like I just said, you can't get these big leads and then fall into this run. Then Denver's crowd starts to get going. Denver fired their coach late in the season, so I don't know what direction they're going in. And, the Clippers definitely have to take advantage of this. Denver is ripe for the taking right now. Clippers need this game tonight. I understand why we're getting plied with all this Clipper money because just like Jeff said, they look great in the first game, but they have to put the game away. Denver may come out stronger, tonight. I like Denver a little in this game tonight because I feel that they need that 2-0 advantage to continue on, then travel to LA. You could rest a little there and pick it up again when you get back home. I like Denver in this game.
Moving to the diamond here, Dwayne, one game already final, Boston Red Sox and the White Sox. And even with a slow start for Walker Buehler, and really since he's come back, all the money on the Boston Red Sox, right, where they lay in the 2.5 and a pretty easy under with the total closing at 9.
Yeah, you can lay anything against the White Sox, Alex. I mean, anybody's looking to bet against the White Sox. It's just ridiculous here. This is what we're faced with. You have such a tremendous drop-off, and people don't understand how the landscape of betting and sports betting has gotten, where you have these teams that are just god-awful, and you have people that really aren't professional handicappers, but anybody could see you could bet against these teams consistently. And yes, definitely, especially on Patriots Day, Boston Marathon, all that, all the catastrophic events that happened in the past. Boston rallies around their team on that day, and the game's over already, like you said, Alex, 4-2. Didn't take much time at all. Definitely a lot of people looking to lay it with Boston, and, a lot of parlays that we'll have to take down with the remainder of today's baseball card. But, not a shocker that we got plied with Red Sox money here.
Dwayne, anything else stand out to you in the baseball card today? Mets and Phillies play for the first time this year. Padres try to continue their hot ways in Detroit in a pretty good interleague matchup against the Tigers as well.
Yeah, Philly came back down to earth, Jeff. Maybe the Mets could take advantage here. I mean, the Mets are playing good. They're beating the teams that they have to. You got Nola on the hill tonight, who's 0-4, I think he is. So definitely the Mets at home, Citi Field. I like the Mets' chances here. Soto, once he gets hot and Lindor gets hot, this is going to be a tough team. And people who thought Pete Alonso didn't have nothing in the left in the tank are crazy. I mean, this is still a young kid that could hit the ball a ton, and he's hitting the ball a ton early on in this season. season. The Mets are doing everything right, everything they need to do. Phillies are like a heartbeat, up, down, 12-8. Let's see. This is a big rivalry. This is the first huge test for the Mets where they're playing a high caliber, upper echelon team, but they're definitely capable. I like the Mets in this situation at Citi Field. You're only laying $1.25 here. Total is at 8. Getting good two-way action on the total as, it's sitting at 8. I heard there might be some showers, though, so keep an eye on that. 10-10 wind said there may be some rain today in the New York area, so you don't want to have your money on it. Don't bet it too early where you have a rain out and then you have no action.
Well, you give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world, right, Dwayne? That's how that works.
That's right.
Yeah, see,
that's right.
There you go.
We grew up in that neck of the woods.
Yeah,
you know that.
You see, look, in effective tagline / marketing, that is one thing that will be ingrained in my brain forever. That
Yes.
exact line from 10-10 wins in New York. He's Dwayne Colucci. Get him up at the Rampart. NYBookie Dwayne on the tweets. Dwayne, it's always a pleasure, man. We will see you again. We'll see you again soon. Thank you for hanging with us this morning.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll be available next Monday, Jeff. So no worries, without a doubt. And whenever you guys need me, this is the best sports betting show and network there is, period. Don't even go with the other pretenders. We started that to begin with anyway. We made that company. Just remember that. And now we're here at the South Point studio. Got Alex now. She's unbelievable. Nobody has the knowledge that her and her father have from the other side of the counter. And then you combine it, Jeff, with Chris Andrews, Vinny Maiulo. I mean, these guys are legends, and I'm just here in the mix. So just proud to be a part of the team.
You and me both, Dwayne. We just happen to be here.
We're just the New Yorkers. The East Coasters get it here. We just add the flavor and the accent. I love that one time the guy's like, "Oh, New York bookie Dwayne and his fake New York accent." Yeah,
fake.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm not from New York. I'm from Las Vegas. Yeah, whatever.
That might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I couldn't believe it. It's like, born and raised, high school, Christ the King, everything.
Ridiculous. Goodness.
Oh,
Dwayne, pleasure.
Love you guys.
Like, the pleasure is always, man. We will see you again a week from today. All right. Quick break for us. Major League Baseball, we'll look at the slate. Alex is a home run play. It's not Nick Castellanos, guys. We'll tell you about it, that and more when we get back. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back in. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Thanks to DC. Dwayne Colucci for joining us. Alex, checking in with the chat right now.
Checking in with the chat. JR started it off by saying the Red Sox had lost 3 Patriot Day games in a row coming into this one. He said the White Sox might have been the best way to fix that. So thank you for that little nugget there. Dean Hilt, Nick is in there as well. Ryan McCormick, of course. Thank you, Ryan. And
I don't know who that is, Alex.
Just your producer behind the scenes there, but it's fine. So yeah, hello. Good morning, everyone. Jump in. Let us know if you have any plays as well. It looks like we do have some props going up there. So love it. Love to see it.
So going into baseball here today, let's begin in Miami here on a Monday. Again, as Alex said, Red Sox already beat the White Sox 4-2, covered the run line, won as $3 favorites. Total goes under easy in Fenway on Patriots Day. Lodolo and Meyer in Miami here tonight. $1.20 on the Reds on the road, as we mentioned yesterday or early before the show. So there are 6 teams with plus 20 or more run differentials so far. The Reds joined that collection yesterday because of their emphatic 24-2 win over the Orioles yesterday. Alex, I don't know how good this team really is. I think they're about a 500 team, which is what they are right now. Good pitcher tonight, though, with Lindell at 20 on the Reds here tonight against Meyer. Marlins came crashing back to earth this week with a 1-5 week, even with the extra inning win yesterday.
And I think we have two good pitchers. You brought up Lindell for the Reds, and I think Max Meyer's been really good for the Marlins, too. So I know it's a little terrifying after seeing 24 runs scored yesterday, but I think the best way to play this would be under in the first 5. So it is 4, but you are getting even money there. Unless, kind of like Adam told us last week, right? If you wanted to look for a 3.5 to not pay for the push there. But I mean, you're already getting even money. And just looking at these two and their medians on the year so far, Lodolo is 4 hits, 0 earned runs, median, 3 strikeouts, 0 walks. And then Meyer, 5 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So has been a very good strikeout guy so far this year. So that's the only way I would play it. I don't, because hockey and NBA, and I did have a few plays there, I don't have that many MLB, but we'll work through these and see what we like the best here.
Moving along to the next one on the card then, Alex. Mets and Phillies. First time these teams match up, and Mets are playing well. Mets just swept St. Louis out of New York. They're 15-7, have a 2-game lead on the Phils in the East right now. Also, Atlanta starting to figure their stuff out. They swept Minnesota over the weekend. We'll get to the Braves in a moment, so maybe this becomes that 3-horse race we expected. Yep. It's McGill and the ultra-struggling Aaron Nola right now, who's got an ERA north of 6 to begin the year through 5 starts. Mets $1.25 at home, total 8 for this one. Weather potentially a factor here in New York.
I would only look at the Phillies here, and I know it's a little concerning. I mean, they took 2 of 3 of the Marlins, so maybe their numbers look a little bit better because of who they just played. But I do think that we're going to start to see this team put it together, and I expect a better performance from Aaron Nola. The last time we saw him against the Mets, he went deep into that game. So I lean that way. I'm a little bit nervous, though. Like you said, Mets taking all 3 from the Cards, and, you know, I was on the Cards early in that series. So this is a tough one to handicap. That plus 110 is just hard to pass up with Nola on the mound.
Just want to throw this out there real quick, since a lot of people have, what's the right way to say this politely here? There are a lot of people who believe in the bad things happen. Nick Castellanos is going to homer deal. Castellanos tonight, they had a homer at FanDuel, which is the best. Oh, Ryan, it's moved since the show began. It's now 5-1 on Castellanos the homer. Jeff Benson, who runs things over at Circa, said that he is getting roughly 7 times the bets of anyone in the home run market tonight over at Circa. So, I mean, look, you guys are sick. We know that already. The people who, like, everyone who's like, hey, this happens all the time. Obviously, it started with the thing in the middle of the pandemic. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go look it up. You know what I'm. But yeah, that's something to at least bring up. But yeah, Castellanos has moved 80 cents on FanDuel since the shows began on the home run prop.
Is there another way to bet him? Over bases?
I would just take over bases if you want to do. If you want to go that factor, it's easier to win anyway. 1 double, you win over 1.5 total bases. You're getting a plus price as it is on that. So that would be what I would look at potentially if you have a very very strange way of looking at things out there. Which you're not alone if you bet the Castellanos homer tonight. All right, we go to Atlanta next. Fetty and Schwellenbach. Braves finally look like the Braves this past weekend. They swept the Twins out of Atlanta. Really wasn't even that competitive over the weekend. Now they get the Cardinals, who just got swept by the Mets. Yep. Minus 90 on Schwellenbach and Atlanta. 8.5 on the total for this one.
Again, I would lean to the dog here in this one. I think that plus 170 is pretty tempting. I think this is just a little bit too big on the Braves. I haven't seen enough out of them. I'm not a big believer in the Twins to begin with. Eric Fetty, I think he has come back down a little bit since last year, so I am a little concerned with him starting. I think Schwellenbach is the better pitcher. The numbers definitely say it too. I mean, his median is 5-1 strikeout to walk, and Fetty's is the wrong way, 2 strikeouts to 4 walks. So that does concern me a little bit, but I do think that price is too high, minus 190 on Atlanta. For my home run pick, though, I am going against Eric Fetty. I can't believe I'm doing it, but Matt Olson, plus 360. He's had 2 in the last 7 days. He actually had 1 yesterday, and the last time he saw Fetty, he had a home run. So I do like him. Ozuna has 2 against Fetty too, if you'd rather go that route. But I'm going with Matt Olson plus 360. And it's not a bet, but it is a lean to the Cardinals here at plus 170.
So I just worried about St. Louis at this point because I think the reason they were able to hang around and actually look okay through the beginning of the year, their offense is playing at a super high level.
Yeah.
That came crashing back to earth this past weekend. I'm a little bit concerned about that because I don't like their pitching to begin with. I think they just have a collection, other than Gray, they have a collection of number 4s, really. Some guys can be 3s like Fetty, but I'm just very concerned about their longevity potentially of being a mediocre team like we thought they would be going into the year.
I think everything you said is very fair. I mean, it was a lot of offense, and we talked about their pitching staff, but you're right. They really need some of those guys to step up, like Eric Fetty, and be the number 2, number 3 guys there. But we'll see. You're right. Last 7 games, all their numbers have really dropped, and it's in the red now for them offensively.
Moving to the last NL only game, good matchup, the Willie Adames Bowl here tonight in San Francisco. Giants, Brewers, Ray and Priest are your pitching matchup. Giants lost an awful game yesterday where they were in complete command the whole way. They give up 4 in the bottom of the 9th, including a walk-off 3-run double by Joe Adell to blow the game against the Angels yesterday. Brewers just kind of hanging around, 12-10. Not doing anything spectacular, but still in the race, very much so in the NL Central, only a game behind the Cubs entering today. $1.30 on the Giants. Total of 8 for this one at Oracle here tonight.
So I think the Giants should be a little bit higher, minus 152, but you're right. Priester has been really good for the Brewers so far this year. I mean, really good numbers here for him coming into this, which is 10 innings pitched. So we'll see how he continues to do. But I would look at the under, and that's a little bit scary too with how we've seen the Giants offense at times throughout this season. But I think 8 is a little bit too high. I think it should be closer to 7, a whole run difference there. So it would be under 8 for me in this one between these two.
Weather in San Francisco is really a non-issue as it usually is. 60 degrees. For this one with the wind blowing slightly out to center field. All right, moving along. Next up, you get the Yankees and the Guardians. Cleveland, of course, a ALCS rematch here in this game. Wind is blowing out deep to right, 17 miles an hour. So Ben Rice is going to be the homer look for me at plus 430 here tonight. Alex, right now the Guardians, a dog at home, plus 110. Yankees with Schmidt, minus 125, total 8.5.
I think that Yankees should probably be the favorite in this one. And we haven't seen much from Schmidt yet, just 5 2/3 innings pitched. And not great numbers there, 2-2 strikeout and ball ratio, 106 whip. So I do think that the Yankees are the right side. Definitely trust their offense more than the Guardians. So that's the only way I would play this if I were to play it.
And then, I would only, like I said, Ben Rice homer. If Rice is in the lineup, he missed yesterday after getting banged up on Saturday. So keep that in mind. See if he's able to go here tonight. But wind blowing out to right, Rice,
yep.
Ramirez, Wells. There are options here at Manzardo. There are options here tonight in this game if you want to find an anytime homer for the wind blowing out. All right, we go to Houston next. Hunter Brown, Kevin Gausman, your pitching matchup between the Astros and the Blue Jays. $1.35 on the Stros. Total 7.5, Alex.
This is the 2 best pitchers that we have going in the same game here tonight. So I would only be an under 4 for the first 5 between these two for me. I mean, both of these guys with 24 at least innings pitched have great numbers coming into this, sub 1 whip, and 20-3 strikeout to walk and 22-5 for Brown. So I definitely like that under. That one might even make the board there.
Last one on the board, Padres Tigers. Padres traveling after playing Sunday Night Baseball last night. It's Vasquez and Montero in Motown. Tigers up to $1.40 now here at home, and the total has also bounced a half a run to 8.5.
I got to stay away from this one. I mean, it would be a lean to the Padres, but I'm not going to do it with them losing 2 of 3 and then coming off the game last night. which was a good win for them. But their offense is a little bit banged up now. Otherwise, I would look at the over first 5 with these two pitchers. Haven't seen a whole lot from Montero yet in his first start, but just 5 innings pitched with a 9 ERA is not great. So, I mean, I do think both offenses will be able to get going if you want to look at full game. But I think the Padres are okay with their bullpen coming in, which might be an issue, getting the runs later. So I'm going to stay off of this one. We'll wait for games 2 and 3 in this series.
I am very interested to see real quick in the NL, and I was going through this yesterday, Alex. I think there's a legitimate argument to be made that the 8 best teams in baseball all reside in the National League. There's the Yankees and Detroit, but other than that in the AL, everyone is just super, super pedestrian, especially right now. I expect Texas to end up being good, but they're not there yet. Detroit's one of these teams that I think is capable of making the World Series in a very weak league, like the American League is. It's a nice little step up here tonight to see how they do against a high-end NL team where the Padres are the best record in baseball right now at 16-6. So very interested to see how Detroit plays up here. And for San Diego, again, there's a brutal spot here in game 1.
It is.
After playing Sunday Night Baseball and then having to travel. And that's not a nothing flight from Houston to Detroit. All right. What was your number on it again? $4. Ryan McCormick's on Machado, plus 400 to homer tonight. So there you go. So that's Rice, Olsen, Machado, the 3 for us. And I was going to do Castellanos earlier, but that number is now gone. We'll take Castellanos over 1.5 total bases here for player props here tonight. All right. Quick break. We get back. Alex's whiteboard to wrap up a Monday right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day. Plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White. Real quick, just on hockey-related things with the Caps. Logan Thompson was the first one on the ice for the skate around this morning, but Kebery did not confirm who's starting yet. So Lindgren or Thompson, but usually the first guy that's on the ice for the skate around is the guy who's starting. So keep that in your back pocket here for night, one way or another. All right, before we get to Alex's whiteboard, trivia. Baseball was the category today. After an impressive streak of 737 consecutive games, which MLB ballpark had its first rainout on this date in 1967. And it was Dodger Stadium. First rainout. Took them over 5 years in order to get the first rainout in Dodger Stadium. Opened in 62. 67 was the first one. There's only been, Vince was telling me about this when he had the trivia question last week. I'm surprised there have even been 17 rainouts at Dodger Stadium, in all honesty, with how little it rains in Southern California ever, in all honesty. And today, Dean Hill busts up JR in the JR Invitational. So congratulations to Dean for getting it right here today on the Dodger Stadium one. Well done.
That is funny because we've had very few rainouts here, of course.
Well, Frank Nicotero is responsible for 100% of them.
Yes,
so.
he is. That is a fact as well. And speaking of the Aviators, JR does have the updates for the ballpark. Unders 11-3-1 so far this year. And also he did mention the Phillies, their trend with their 7 overs cashing in a row. But of course they were at home in those last 7 games.
Yeah, the Phillies, like you mentioned, those 7 straight overs, all at Citizens Bank. The previous 3 games that were in St. Louis all went under. And then the last 2 in Atlanta went under. So
yeah,
the home road splits important. With looking at those totals for the Phillies, at least since that first series at home. All right. Roll the clip, my friend. It's time for a whiteboard here on a Monday, and the one and only Alex White goes to her place right now.
All right. I am a little bit of everything today. So 2 hockey for me. Canadiens and Caps are going over that 6. I made it 6.5, so I feel good having a nice half a goal difference there. Oilers and Kings under 5.5. Same thing. I made this one 5, expecting defense in this one and Kings to control that tempo of that game. Clippers and Nuggets under 218.5. Blue Jays and Astros, we're going under 4 for the first 5. And then my preps right here, Matt Olson, home run. So this is just a sprinkle pizza money here. Matt Olson, 360 to hit a home run, and Jacob Chikrin plus 155 to have a point tonight.
The loaded card for Alex here on a Monday that, with some playoff games, but not a ton of action. So, again, follow along for Alex's plays, of course, at the end of every show. And also, to make sure you follow us across social media, Instagram and Twitter especially. And make sure you're clicked right here on the YouTube page at Sports by the Book, right here on YouTube. We're back in 23 hours, Alex.
Yes.
We're back in 23 hours. We'll have Kenny on the far side of the desk as well. Who knows? Maybe Ryan will even have a microphone by then. If not, hopefully soon. But shout out to everyone here today. And Jerry, True Dog, Vince, Ryan, as always. Sean, enjoy your day off as well, who always helps us out. Make sure you watch all of our draft content that's also on our Sports by the Book YouTube page. Also, we'll have some more draft content coming later today. I'll be talking with our good friend Matt Hamilton a little bit later this afternoon. Be on the lookout for that video coming up on the Sports by the Book YouTube page later today. Good luck.
Thank you. You as well.
Get some winners.
And everybody who has a home run prop going tonight. And if anybody in our chat wants to start throwing them in, we'd love it as well. Kenny White will have one tomorrow with us.
I can't wait to see where Kenny's going on the home run prop tomorrow. So, Alex, I'm Jeff. We'll see you again next time. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.